Okay, July 12th, 10 a.m. Posted some videos in regards to death threats against my daughter. I've got to get into this burial piece they're trying to do in regards to killing cats in Phoenix. Then I'll get into the computer program they used, let's see, I think it was July 11th, early in the morning. I've got it posted there. They're already affecting my memory. The reason why they took my cat the other night, I'll tell you exactly what happened. It was late at night. It was about 2:30 in the morning. I hadn't fed my cat yet. Busy screwing around with videos in monkey land here. So I take him out of his pen. I get the food out. And I put the food in the bowl and he starts eating. Now I've got a long line here. It's a yellow cord. I don't know if you can see it. It's hanging off of that tree. You can see it at the base of the tree there. So I quite literally go to get it. I'm feeding him on the patio, and that's about 50, maybe 50 feet away. And so I quite literally go from the patio, and I'm literally going to grab the yellow rope. This gives you an idea how they can affect you. So I go to get this yellow nylon cord, the rope here, and, this would be like you going to the bathroom to have to piss, and then you forget. They've already been making death threats in regards to him, so I've got to keep him tied up all of the time anyhow, because they will remote control him. They've been remote controlling him, that's the point. I had this going on all of the time in Phoenix. My cat, Jackie, he'd been with me for more than a year, and I let him out at night. He always comes back. And he would always stick around is the next point. He wouldn't wander off. And I had a whole bunch of cats in the back. And he was the top cat. This was one more I learned in regards to cats. He was the boss cat for all the other cats in the back. And he would run off any strays that would come and try and eat from the food bowl and stuff. He was like their protector. So I'd had him for about a year. I let him out, and then he disappeared. He didn't come back for one day, and I was getting death threats. And I was getting death threats in regards to him for no reason. And it's on the second day I go out and feed the cats, and he's still not back. And then I see the cats are out there eating, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go out there and check, see how many, which cats are out there. And I go out there, and they didn't know I was coming. I was being quiet. And I think I was being quiet in the first place because I know they can affect my cats with technology. And I was wondering, I think I was suspicious about the agents in Phoenix. I knew they were affecting my cat, Jackie. He always stuck around. They all stayed away from the roads and stuff. They had their food and water there, and they had an enormous field and all sorts of stuff around them. They had no need to go where the cars were, and they avoided the cars like the plague. They had tons of space, so they always stuck around. So I go out back, and I walk back there, and I surprise them, and they all run. And I see my cat, Jackie. And this is the second day he was, quote, missing. And I call him, and he is still right. He was acting like he did not even know me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, Jackie, hello, it's me. Hello. I'm making all my sounds for him. And he still did not come back. But it was my cat, Jackie. I'm like, okay, they've got him remote controlled. And clearly they're affecting him with technology fear. And maybe even pushing in this feeling with him. Like he doesn't even know me. Like they've blocked his memories. Because this is what they do with people. So this gives you an idea how they can remote control animals. The reality is I saw it done with my girlfriend and our daughter right in front of my face. And if you hear me speaking about this video and past videos I've been looking for, I think it's from July of 2012. I haven't found the video, but I found 2 videos, and in one video I refer to May, and another video I refer to June of 2012. But my own mental marker in my head is July, so it may have been late June. But my mental marker is July of 2012. But that was about my girlfriend and daughter being remote controlled for 6 months, 7 months. And then Horvat took the technology off of them, and they were traumatized because they saw the entire time I've been telling them, you're being affected, and they couldn't recognize it. This is a science fiction horror film I and my family lived in. And then in July, I'm going to say July because that's what my mental marker is for. Then in July, they took the technology off of my girls after they had attacked me very heavily, verbally. And then Horvat hijacked me finally and had me yelling at them. It wasn't my anger. It was, I reached a certain point with my anger, and then Horvat was like, well, we're going to hijack you now. So we had this big blowout, all with technology, and then they took the technology off of my girls, and they were traumatized. And my daughter was real quiet, and my girlfriend, and they were going through their introspective hell. I'll tell you exactly what they're doing. They're rewinding through the entire 6 months leading up to this, 6.5, and they're just rewinding through all the memories I've been telling them they're being affected, and they're looking at their own behavior and what they believed, which was impossible. Because the reality is we've been speaking about us being affected with technology for years and years at that point. Horvat had revealed this technology to us in June of 2012. So we've been speaking about us being affected with technology for 6 years. And the reality is, I and my girlfriend knew that technology was being misused on me starting in 2002. And also, my girlfriend knew technology was misused on her heavily starting in 2005. So quite literally, before Horvat had revealed this technology in 2006. And it was being misused heavily on me and her before we knew about the technology. But getting back to the point, so I see my girls are quiet, and I know what they're doing because this is what I have been doing the entire time. They were looking at the memories, and they're wondering what the hell happened to me. How is that even possible? So I went in to talk to my daughter, and she said, I'm sorry. I said, it's not your fault, sweetie. And I explained to her how it works. And then I went into the kitchen. Same thing. My girlfriend's making food, but I could see she's in her introspective hell here. And I explained to her how it works. I said, it's like a Trojan horse. What they do is they send thoughts and feelings with your energy print. The energy print is a feeling of you. And they attach it to your thoughts and your feelings, and then they send it to you. They shove it into you. Now, they can do it for a short period of time, or they can leave it on you for a period of years, a few months. They can do it, for as long as they want. But what they had done in this case was for a half year with my girls. And they were doing it bit by bit. In other words, it was getting progressively worse. It started in January of 2012, and then it started getting worse each month. So I realized what Horvat was doing is she's mimicking reality. Just for people outside of the family, she's selling, well, it's them, and it's, bit by bit, Horvat was doing technology events with me and my girls, scripting words out of their mouths. That's one more they can do. They just script speech out of your mouth. They will pick the wording you are going to use and affect you into using it. And typically they will do an emotional state, not yours, with it. In fact, I'd have to look, but most of the time that is how it's done. So I realized Horvat's mimicking reality here based on all of this. And the reality is, I was going through this science fiction hell. I was watching my girls be remote controlled and getting progressively worse. And I was, all the way back in January, I was like, well, this is going to be hell. And I was like, well, I've got no choice. I'm just going to have to speak the truth to them every single time. And that way, if the technology is taken off of them, then at some point that maybe they snap out of it. And but the entire point is this history of us being affected for 6 years, it was gone from their heads. And quite literally, I just had this experience in the last week and a half here with people from the alternative media. Now that I think about it, this is not why I'm bringing all of this up. And when I sent these people from the alternative media email explaining it, I was just analyzing what they were doing with me and reached that conclusion. I told everybody that I knew from the alternative media I was in contact with what they're doing is mimicking reality, trying to sell a false profile in regards to my anger. I only came across this mimicking reality in videos I looked at yesterday. Can you believe it? And but the point is, I realized they're mimicking reality and they're affecting my girls bit by bit. And they're doing it slowly so they can sell to people outside of the family it's real and true. So then we have this enormous blowout. They were attacking me heavily, not the other way around. I knew they were being affected. I can't blame them. I've had this shit, I was having this shit done to me all of the time. So then Horvat took the technology off of them, and I explained to my girlfriend. I'd already explained to my daughter. I explained to my girlfriend, and she was listening. She's paying very close attention. I said they put this feeling of you on the thoughts and the feelings, and they shove it into you. And then you act from it. You react from there. And that is how it tricks you into believing it is yours. If they do it without your energy print, you can pick up on it's an outside influence. I've had this shit done with me with my energy print so much, I can pretty much pick up on it. I had an experience in the video I did. I was remembering a memory in regards to this girl I knew. And I was remembering it so vividly and everything, but they're doing a feeling push also. And I was starting to cry a little bit when I was doing the video. And I was like, is this me? Usually I don't cry when I remember stuff. And I was like, is this me or is this them with technology? I couldn't tell the difference. But I was questioning it. It was being done with my energy print in on a very, very high level. So I ended up including it in the video. And because I couldn't tell the difference, and I thought, well, it must be it's mine. I hadn't thought about that in a long time, and it was extremely traumatic what had happened with this girl here. But the point is, I do get to this point of, is this me or is this technology? And this is with my energy print. In order for anybody to reach that point, it has to be done to you shitloads. Normally, you just get tricked automatically. So I explained it to my girlfriend, and I said, do you understand? And she just nodded her head silently. So now let's get back to the cat. So this example where they were affecting my cat, Jackie, with a feeling of fear, and like he didn't know me, it's easy for them to do. I've seen it done with people in front of my own face. So the other night, I come here to get the line to tie up my cat. It's my sole intent. If you knew how many death threats they're making against my cat, you realize there's no way I'm not tying him up. And they automatically bump out what I had intended to do and replace it with something else. Like, that is what I intended to do, to sit down and do videos. It wasn't possible. Yeah, it would be like you having to go to the bathroom, because that's how strong my intent was, to give you a clear example. And then you get affected and you go watch TV instead. Hello? But this is technology being used on high extreme levels with me to get a desired result. And they've been resorting to all sorts of dirty measures here and misusing technology on high levels here since I've been here at my parents'. And all these memory games, wiping my memories, who did I send videos to, what the videos were about. That's the other one they've been doing. They've been affecting me in video and then wiping my memory. I've been affected in video as needed. Made up my mind I wasn't going to send this video, some videos to this girl I know. Quite literally. Then on the spot, they affected me and had me thinking it's a good idea to send videos. And then had me saying, that's me in the videos. Hello? And then I sent it off to her. And then I think I sent the videos off to other people as well. And it was later, I think, I took the videos. Now, you see, they're affecting with my memory all over again. But I did clear it up, and it's the way I've stated before with people from the alternative media. And so they've been affecting me very heavily out here. So then after they affect me and get me to forget about my cat, 20 minutes later, I remember, shit, I didn't tie my cat up. I go out there, it takes him about 10 minutes to eat. I go running back there, and sure enough, he's gone, and he's out here somewhere, and he's not responding. So I knew they had remote controlled him, so he not only was not there, but he was far away somewhere. You know, the reality is he's probably within, he could hear me calling, but he wasn't responding. They'd done this a couple of weeks back. I'm calling him. They were making death threats, and he was sitting underneath my mother's car, but he wasn't responding. It wasn't his behavior at all. That I picked up on totally. As a matter of fact, after he had eaten his food, normally he would swing back around this way. Normally he would come to me. I've had him off the line before. He's gotten out and left his own devices. He comes to me. He's gotten used to being tied up, and he knows the yard and stuff here. And, you know, I've been checking. But none of that happened. But the point is, within 10 minutes, he could not have been out of earshot of my voice, yet he wasn't responding. The reality is, he only gets so far, and then he's scared to go further because it's out of his range and he's not familiar with the area. And an important point is he's not in heat. If he were in heat, that would be a different ball game. So they remote control him, and it's like in 10 minutes, he was already halfway to China. So then I'm looking at these setups they did in Phoenix, and I'm like, well, they've probably killed him. And blah, blah, blah. The next morning I go out. He could only be on this side of the creek. We have a big creek here. It had just rained. There's no way he could cross the creek. So he's got to be on our side of shit here. And he would have gone up the creek, most likely. He would not go down the other way because there's typically a busy road there. He hears cars and trucks and buses going through there all the time. And just like in Phoenix and all the other cats, that's going to be if left to his own devices, there's no way he's going to go that way. So even if they're remote controlling him, if they're going to mimic reality, I figure for one, he's going to be on this side of the creek, and he's going to go up this way. So the next morning, I get up, I go I go like 300 meters up the creek, and there's nothing but houses on each side of the creek. And I'm calling him, no response. And I'm thinking, well, they could just have him sitting somewhere, and like my cat Jackie, he's not responding. They could affect him like he doesn't even know it's me, or they could just affect him, period, so he just sits and doesn't come to me. But I'm also thinking, well, if he's halfway normal, or if somebody sees him, then he may be at somebody's house, left to his own devices. Or if somebody just gets a hold of him is the other end of it. So I made all those mental notes. I come back, I check with the animal shelter, blah, blah, blah. And you hear it in videos. For the most part, I assumed he was dead. You know, I got nothing to be optimistic about based on all of the cats that were killed when I was in Phoenix, which I'm getting to. But I do have a bookmarker in my head. Yes, technically it's possible he's taken in at one of these houses, because there's nothing but houses the entire way that he most likely went. The only other possibility is they remote controlled him out into the swamp and then they just killed him. So I was most certainly leaning towards the idea that they had killed him. I did have a mental marker. It's possible he's at somebody's house, he's still alive, but I considered it wasn't the most likely scenario. But he did come back. He came back the other night at around 3 o'clock in the morning, which is about the time they had him disappear. Now, that's not how I spoke to my parents. You know, I think I said, well, it's a possibility, but it's not what I most likely considered. You know, I wasn't getting optimistic about it. No, I'm a realist. So now let's get into what was going on with my cats out in Phoenix. Okay, so let's start with Jackie in November 2022. I'm letting him out the door, and as he's going out the door, the agents in Phoenix threaten to kill him. This is out of left field. It's not my background thought. How could it be? I'm just letting him out the door. Nothing new to it. Same thing as every other night. So they threatened to kill him, and I was like, yeah, right, because they had no reason for killing him. And then he didn't come back. And that night, I heard a weird cat shriek. And I've only heard it 2 times and then once out here, except I think it was a different animal out here. But I heard it only 2 times, and this was the first time. I hear this weird cat shriek. They've made death threats. So I start to have the impulse to get up and check, and these agents squash it down, and then they wipe my memory in regards to the death threats. And they probably want to blame smoking weed, which was legal in Phoenix. It's not legal out here. I'm not doing it. But given my life circumstances here, I was smoking because, you know, I needed something for relaxing, and I most certainly was not going to be drinking alcohol. And, you know, it was medicinal on my end. And plus, they would let it work. You know, I would drink coffee, but they wouldn't let the coffee work. This is why everybody always saw me drinking coffee. Nobody ever knew the real story. Hang on. I mean, you could be drunk as shit and you would still go check. You get it? So there's no story. There's no truth to if they sold weed as a cover story, there's no truth to it at all. I think they're just trying to sell an old profile that I used to have. In that case, you know, back to my college days and everything like that, profile is still alive. No, my psychology is totally different in regards to all that shit. So the point is, regardless of anything I had, there was no way I would not check based on the death threats. And that threat was made just hours before, and I hear this weird cat shriek. You all get this one? And the next point is there's nothing wrong with my memory in regards to all of this. I have eidetic memory. My memory is exceptional. I can re-remember stuff and re-step into the memories and re-feel and even step within the memories and look around and remember stuff from that time period. My memory is extremely unusual. It's exceptional. It's way beyond any, you know, the average person's. And the thing is, I've been doing nothing but making mental notes about my being affected and my family being affected. I was monitoring my family the entire time I was with them, and even the pets. This is the level I was on, and it wasn't like I had a choice. I was doing all of it for the protection of my family and because of stuff like this. So then I didn't go out and look for my cat. I go out the next day, I'm calling for him and everything, and I don't find him until about a month later. And the entire time he was underneath the cat tree, which was outside of my bathroom window, and he was laying down perfectly on his side. And furthermore, from the way his body was rotting, you could tell he had been rotting for about a month. And he was hidden back in I had a cat cushion underneath the cat tree I had out back there for all the cats. The entire time he had been there and I hadn't known it. So I make the connection with this cat shriek, and they killed him outside my bathroom window. So then they're making death threats all over again, and I think this was in January. I mean, I can look this up, but this all occurred in the first few months of 2023. It might even be December. So then they make death threats again against my cats, and I've got about 15 of them, and they're all the sons and daughters of my guy Jackie, and I love each of them. They're little people. And two of the girls, Molly and a Bandit, had another litter, and they were growing up. And so I had 15 as a result. And they make death threats again against cats. Sure enough, I wake up in the morning, I go out there, and they had killed baby Ping. Again, laying perfectly on her side. And the story to that one is, that night, I heard this weird cat shriek all over again. Same fucking thing. I'm sitting at my desk. They've made the death threat that day. And I don't know if it was that night, but I'm pretty sure it was that night. Except in this case, they had made repeated threats. And I hear this weird cat shriek outside of my window. How hard is it to figure out? Of course, you're going to go check. They do the same thing. They squash down my impulse to get up and go out and check, wipe my memory, and then I'm out to lunch. Forgotten all about it. Hello? This is how you can pick up on the fact that it's technology. Sure enough, the next morning I go out and I find baby Ping laying on his side and dead. Dead as a doornail. Looked just like Jackie when I found Jackie dead. They made the death threats, done the exact same thing, the weird cat shriek, and all of it a repeat of the experience with Jackie. Except this time, baby Ping was right there where I could see him. This is them doing this with my voice. This is a special effect for trying to convey that I'm stressed, and I'm not stressed at all. Really, what they're doing is they're drying out my throat. But they do this in all sorts of videos. They've been doing it so much, I actually got angry in one video. Typically, they do stuff like this to sell lies behind the scenes. Oh, he's stressed out. Oh, this is his profile. And then they'll affect me with something subtle like that to fit what they're selling. This is why, if you look at my videos, I've done some music videos, you always see Jackie and baby Ping. I didn't touch Jackie, he was rotting. But I have him pulled out, and he was laying exactly the same way as baby Ping. And so then, at some point, I'm trying to get my book finished and out. I'm in touch with the alternative media. These agents in Phoenix are hijacking me heavily because they want me shut down with the alternative media. People can look at the other videos, but there's more to the story in regards to that. Basically, I let the agents take me for the ride. People can keep what they want to believe. That's in regards to that. But the other thing they were doing was making threats against my cats. Now here's a story in regards to the cats. So they began affecting the cats, the kittens, into shitting on the rocks. All around my apartment building and the laundry room, which was right next to where my little bungalow, it's all stones, but quite literally like 15 meters away is an entire field of dirt. They had, it was an enormous field. Almost the size of smaller than a soccer field, but very, very big is the point. You get it? And as I think most people know, cats like doing their business in sand and dirt. Just like a dog. If you take a dog out, he does not want to shit on concrete. He does not want to use the bathroom on concrete. He wants to use something natural, and it's not stones. Dogs will do their business in dirt and grass, right? But all of a sudden, these cats are shitting on the stones, and they're shitting over by the laundry room, and all back behind my apartment and my neighbor's apartment. And I'm like, I automatically, I recognize this is technology. This is not normal cat behavior. So I had no idea they're shitting out by the laundry room, which is one more that never happened before. And at this point, there had already been 2 other litters of cats. And this had never happened before. In other words, some of the cats had kittens, and they never used the toilet on the stones, these small stones. They always made their business in the field. It was one great big litter box for the cats. So I'm noting, okay, this is technology, but the people at my apartment complex and the landlord didn't know about this technology, or, you know, I doubt they knew about it back then. They most certainly, if they did, they were not told, okay, we're affecting the cats for shitting by the laundry room. That way, when everybody's going to the laundry, they see all of this shit on the rocks there. And I had no idea because I wasn't using the laundry room. And I know this is why they did it this way, because a few times I was going to go to the laundry room and the agents I was dealing with affected me into not going. Oh, well, just wash your clothes in the bathroom. Like I'm going to save $1.50. Hello? So, and it was the same thing. You have this impulse desire to do what you want and it gets squashed down. You get it? Exact same thing. They just reuse the same tactics for different situations. So this told me also, this confirmed, okay, this is not a coincidence or accident. Is I finally got a complaint from the landlord, and I'm like, what? And I go out and I check by the laundry room, and it looked like it would just poop all over the place, which I had to clean up. So then I was shocked, by the way. So then I was like, and I had already picked up a lot behind my building and had to absolutely pick all of it up at that point. So, oh yeah, right. So that was one more confirmation point. Hang on. All right, so then my next conclusion was, based on that, I'm like, okay, so now my cats have been labeled a nuisance and a menace with everybody there at the apartment complex. Clearly, they had been using that spot as a bathroom for, you know, more than a month, and everybody was having to look at it, so they're making my cats look bad. And not everybody knew about this technology. You get it? Furthermore, in typical standard operational procedure, they were threatening to charge me for each of the cats. And I was like, the fuck you are. I sent them an email and I said, you can't charge me for the cats, which I don't own. Those are wild cats. I take care of them. And, you know, I pointed out I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. It's costing me money to feed the cats and everything. You most certainly are not billing me for all the cats. They're going to charge me a deposit for each cat. Oh, yeah, right. But this is what they would always have the landlord do. Just attack me instead of trying to communicate with me first. As a point, I worked for the animal shelter when I was in high school for free, helping the animals. These agents communicated to me the other day, we're going to try and sell it as this girl that got you doing it, you were just hot for her, and that's why. Man, if you understood where I was in junior high school and high school in regards to girls, you would understand that was not the case. She did get me involved with it because that's what she was doing. But she was a 12th grader and I was in 11th grade. And where I was with girls was totally different. I'm not one of these kids, high school kids from a movie. I never have been, even when I was in high school, you get it? All my friends were a certain way. I didn't begin to be like them. I wasn't your stereotypical teenager. But that's the cover story these agents told me they were going to sell, and to try and hide the reality of why I was doing this. It was just out of my love for animals. But the point is, all of this going on with these cats didn't begin to be normal, and I'm noting bit by bit what the agents are doing and the intended effect. They're doing step by step, they're doing stuff here. So I picked up all the cat shit and put vinegar out to try and discourage them. I was wondering, well, if they're being affected with technology and I do this, I wonder how they're going to respond. To smell the vinegar to discourage them. But they keep doing it, and then every other week I've got to go out there and pick up cat poop. So then I'm getting close to getting my book out, and I've got all this other heavy shit going on with me and technology and people behind the scenes. And they're making death threats against my cats. And then, quite literally, I think it was within a 3-week period, 8 of my cats disappeared. 8. Hello? So I realized they've got the people there at the apartment complex scooping up the friendlier cats while I am at work and taking them to the animal shelter. When they go to the animal shelter, they're put to sleep after a short period of time. So they're being knocked off. And keep in mind, I've got a lot of people who work for the FBI directly in regards to me. In fact, some of them have moved there because of me, because they're working for the FBI. You understand? In the way that works, they'll have many people move in because one person has got to go to the store or will have to work or this and that. So they've always got a bunch of people. So there's always somebody there, 24/7. You guys get this? So they'd scooped up 8 of my cats who I loved, and they all disappeared within an extremely short time period. And the reality is they were being killed. At the end of the day, they were being killed. The FBI are not humanitarians. On the contrary, they're cheap killers. They could care less about my cats. If it was their cats, it would be a different story. We clear? They make death threats at me, and when I threaten them back in my head, it's a different story. They threaten to kill me with people attacking me, this and that, trying to kill me with a knife, with a gun, multiple people at a time, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, it's just junk in my head. But they got no business making death threats. Because in Phoenix, I was all about getting this ended. They were the ones not ending things. So they were selling a false narrative in regards to all of this in the first place. Matter of fact, you can look at one of my last videos. You see them trying to portray me as violent and dangerous going back to Germany. And that was 10 years ago. And I put in the video where it's 10 years later, where's the violence? So they're just reusing the same smear campaign with different people. They're repeating tactics. They're trying to dump their profile on me. That's exactly what the FBI has been trying to do. Agents and agencies, period, actually. Within a 3-week period, I'd watched 8 cats disappear, and bit by bit. Some days it was 2 at a time. And I realized what was going on, and I realized at the end of the day my cats are being killed. And all of this was done with technology bit by bit. They turned my cats into a public nuisance so they could get away with killing them. That's the bottom line. 8 gone in 3 weeks. Okay, I've got to end the video here. I've got very little space on my tablet. Somebody pulled into the driveway also. I'll get back to this in a moment. Now, as a point, just a quick point here. These agents were threatening to kill my cat even after they had hijacked him and he was away. And I'm like, I'm not responsible for your actions. You're going to do what you're going to do, and I've got nothing to do with your actions. But this is what they try and do. They try and give you people, targets, and stalking the feeling that you can control what they do. It's a load of shit. I don't live in their Disneyland. I was looking at becoming a psychology major, and I'm good at it in the first place. So, but this gives you an idea of the FBI. They're trying to get me. Really, they're dumping the responsibility of their actions on me. Trying to. Really, what they've been doing is holding me in stalking while lying to everybody and trying to force me into being a witness in regards to a group of CIA agents out of control with this technology. But that's a different story. But that's, at the end of the day, what's actually going on, and that's what all of this has been about. And getting back to the point, agents and agencies, they already know where I am in regards to the killing and stuff. I said I'm not responsible for your actions to make it clear with them, but the reality is they already know this. So getting back to Phoenix here. Yeah, so they turned my cats into a public nuisance to create this atmosphere of, to put my cats in a negative light, to create a negative energy with everybody living there. And that way it was easy for them to get rid of all of the cats. You get it? I and my cats had turned into a problem for everybody else. Reality is, it involved technology in the first place, but they tricked everybody. So then we get to May, right before I came back to Phoenix, and one of their people brought up with me, well, the Indian landlord, the guy that owns this, these bungalows on the other side. These were hotel rooms, but they were like my apartment complex. They were individual units, like 2 rooms to each unit. And this guy is Indian, and I was in India 10 months, and a lot of the Indians, they hate cats. You'd think they love them because they eat rodents, but that's not how a lot of them work. And the FBI in Phoenix, they knew about this through me. So they had one of their people bring this up, and I said, oh yeah, well, that guy, he's an Indian, he's from India, and he's not a very nice guy, is the other end of it. But he, a lot of the Indians don't like cats. But I already knew this was all bullshit. And I was just speaking with this person and giving them a piece of information in regards to that. But that is not the real story. This is just how I do my business. I just approach people like it's normal life. And what was I going to say to this person who's already working for the FBI? Actually, I know that Sean and all of you went along with my cats being taken to the animal shelter and killed. But that's bottom line. That's where I'm at now. So I'm just playing along. But then I realized, well, this idiot has probably got their camera on and recording this for selling to people behind the scenes. In other words, for doing a burial piece, to try and make it look like I believe something else. You people got to put context. You got to look at context in regards to everything. They're selling lies about me. Everybody's just automatically believing whatever comes out of the FBI's mouth. Now, the reality is they killed all my fucking cats. My saying that to one of their fucking pissants doesn't mean it's true. People act like they know my fucking life and the FBI's telling the truth. The reality is they're running a false script through my head all of the time. It's not for me and it's not for the FBI. We both know what the reality of the circumstances are here. So then they're selling it like I'm the Truman Show, and oh, well, we run this through his head. And the reality is they're just running shit through my head, which has nothing to do with reality. And the FBI knows it and I know it. That's why I ignore all of this junk in the first place. They lied about all of it and had somebody stick a gun in my face based on that. So then let's get to my cat disappearing here the other night. Clearly, I'm going to tie my cat up. Clearly, I'm not going to forget that one. And quite literally, on the way to get the rope here, they just replace what I'm doing with something else, and I go and do that instead. It's remote control. And then they remote control him away, and I'm saying, well, they've killed my cat, best guess. Which was my best guess, because take a look at the past here. Plus, the FBI knows I'm going to take them to court. Problem for them is they've been killing without a reason in the first place. You can't make somebody your witness by killing people in the individual's life. And they've already done it. So there's nothing negotiable here with the FBI. I'm a realist. But I did have one eye, I did have this possibility, well, because in real life, that would be a very strong possibility. Somebody's taking him in. So then when he comes back, my dad opens the door and calls for my cat to come in, and he wouldn't come in because most likely he had been in somebody's house for the last 24 hours. And he can't stand being inside all of the time. So that's the real story in regards to that. But the reason why they've done it, they want to make it look like, well, you're saying they've killed your cat. And take a look. They didn't kill your cat, because I'm sure they pre-informed people. They didn't kill your cat. But how it is here and now is how it was back in Phoenix. Boy, people got to be dumb as shit to believe that. They get away with shit like this all of the time because nobody ever knows the real story. And the reality is, I did have one eye open. I say one eye open. I considered, yes, he may return. And I considered the reason why, which is what I'm bringing up here. And I think what they keep wanting to do is dump shit. This is standard operational procedure. I keep getting through their technology. They've made mistakes also, by the way. They're getting played by me. There's no doubt about it in regards to different things. But I considered it slim to none. Yes, it's a possibility, and I'm looking at the fact, well, they're doing a hit piece here. And so that is what has happened. But I am a realist. Most likely thing was they remote controlled them out into the swamp and killed them. That was my strongest possibility here. And they didn't do it, but it doesn't make everything in the past here not true. But the only way you find out the story of them killing all of these cats in Phoenix is by hearing it from me, because the FBI is not telling the truth in the first place. So this is a burial piece. They'll do something in the present to try and bury mistakes they made in the past. And that's what they've done. But the reality is, I still had, you know, maybe 15%, 20% that he's still alive, and it will play out this way. Whole point is, it was always dependent on the FBI and their own actions in the first place, which I consider to be slim to none. You get it? So, and that's the real story. And that's how the FBI does their business, and that's what a burial piece is. They fuck up in the past, and they go, okay, we got to set something up now and sell a story in regards to that. You know, the point is, they didn't tell the truth about all this in Phoenix. If you were wearing my shoes here with your cat disappearing just the other day, where would you be? You'd be like, no, most likely they have killed him. Yes, it's possible he's still alive at somebody's house. But, yeah, of course. Left to real life, that's how it would have played out. But I have no way of knowing how the FBI is going to do their shit here. So most likely possibility is he's dead. How would it be for you? But the reason why they've done this is to try and bury the real stories here from the past and all the cats they killed in Phoenix. And then after that, they killed even more. I got down to, I had only 4 cats. Can you believe it? So the real story is, they killed my cat Jackie, they killed baby Ping, and then after that, they killed 11 more fucking cats. That's the real story. And because of one setup they do here, in the last few days, everybody wants to believe they haven't killed cats. That's why they did this. And that's how they do all their shit. The next point is, I was looking for a different video, and I came across a video where I speak about this. And I posted it yesterday, how they do their burial piece. They do burial pieces. I watched the agents in Germany do this. They had made mistakes, so they did something in the present moment to bury the past. I observe their tactics, and then I have to give a name to the tactics. So that's it. No, that is not it. Last but not least. So I was in touch with people from the alternative media, but they didn't know about this stuff. And I finally got my book done. It was a ebook file. And I tried approaching Alex Jones. And quite literally, they had just whacked a bunch of my cats right before I tried contacting them. 8 gone. And then within a week, by the way, this group tried taking Alex Jones's daughter's cat. This was not a coincidence. The FBI had contacted this group behind the scenes here and had them trying to take Alex Jones's cat. This was for divide and conquer with me and Alex Jones to show me that he's an egotistical jackass and he wasn't questioning to the point of finding out the truth in regards to all sorts. He doesn't know anything. He only knows the FBI side of the story, but this is how they get away with shit. And it was to show me, yes, look, he's an egotistical jackass. But I label individuals based on who they are, their actions, etc. In regards to people from the alternative media, I've been hijacked repeatedly in regards to y'all. Let them take me for the ride, because I already knew they wanted to do divide and conquer with you three. So they got away with it with Carrie. They've told me with you, Bill, you're tricked. But, you know, like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't go on the mouths of agents. That's what everybody else does. So the point is, that is what they wanted before I got back. And, you know, the FBI has been getting its nose bloodied here. I dealt with Horvat and her officers. You know, this, yeah, what I'm living with here, for anybody from the alternative media, this is a nightmare in and of itself. But it is nothing, and I mean fucking nothing, compared to a group of agents led by a psychopath, Hannibal Lecter, with this technology in their hands, doing unauthorized murder. Jesus Christ, that was the fucking nightmare. I watched them do unauthorized murders. I watched shitloads of people be killed. I even watched large media events happen. They were giving innuendos and communicating stuff to me, and I watched shit happen in the news. One of these was fucking enormous beyond belief. So, yeah, while this is a nightmare in its own, it's nothing on my end compared to what I dealt with Horvat and her officers. And when you get what I dealt with in regards to Horvat and her officers, you get I was really fucking good. And the FBI, they've been lied to in their file. They are holding me in stalking and trying to force me into being their witness. They've already murdered my father-in-law and killed shitloads of cats. After they have woken up, they woke up at the beginning of 2023 in January. In 2022 in January. Really, it started December 2021. So they have their pants down in regards to how I do my shit. That is the truth. And yes, I'm on a different level here with these agents. And yes, I'm doing my business differently. I got fucked by 2 groups of agents already, and I'm not that stupid. So that's it for the video. But that is why these agents are doing what they're doing with my cat here. This is why they've done it that way. And this is actually what is going on. That is why I got a response from one woman from the alternative media. Don't tell me about the world. I'm like, man, you're in the garbage can. You let yourself be tricked, and I could care less about you. I've got more serious shit and on my mind here, and more. I've got serious circumstances to deal with, and you know, I just posted a video about it. It's all in real time, and that's where I'm at. I've got no time for kids and games and people pretending to be what they aren't. So that's it for the video, but that is where I was coming from. That's why it's all business on my end now. People can either wake up to the reality of the FBI or not. But as a point, my family here in America, they feel what to believe in regards to the FBI. People looking at the psychopath from Germany. She was a psychopath. You cannot identify with her based on how you are. That's what my family here is doing. They're quote, nice people. I strongly debate that point at this point. But they're good people and they're nice people, and they think the FBI must be like them. That's not the reality of this world. The FBI is the FBI. They must be telling the truth. That most certainly is not the reality of this world. The FBI is absolutely balls to the walls, corrupt and infested. The reality is the agents I worked with out in Phoenix, they knew about all of this. And they were not telling the people I worked with the truth about any of this. They were lying about it. That's the truth of it. You know, and I bring this up for perspective. So that's it. July 11th, 12:55 a.m. Let's see. I was thinking about... Oh, right. I was going to bring up my cat got killed. And she'd be asking how it happened. And I was going to say human turds killed my cat. So then these agents brought something up like Jurgen said one more strike and that's it. They're going to target her. But first I realized this was an automated response. I realized this is how this happened. They brought that up. They brought up a threat against my daughter again. You better not. Then I was thinking about they communicated it like Jurgen had communicated the message in regards to killing somebody in Germany. And like he's Mr. Professional and he's got to throw the gauntlet down like the turd he is. Yeah, you're all about killing without doing your job. I get that one. You're all professional. You can go fuck yourself, Jurgen. Pass it on, you dumb cunt. And, right, then I realized, well, they brought something up about my growing up. And I realized, well, that's an innuendo for killing our daughter. Because between the three of us, she knows the least. Monica and I know the most in regards to Horvat and her officers. So, between the three of us, they would get rid of our daughter. And then they had an automated response. In other words, they know how I do my business. They're waiting for me to figure it out. And when I figure it out, a message clicks on, and the message was, Jurgen said one more strike, and that's it. So, man, the shit I could say about that. You're going to go killing and doing whatever. Our daughter is 22 years old. She is brought up to keep her mouth shut. And you are the ones that fucked it up by screwing her head all up and erasing her memories and shit. So all the way around, Jurgen is the tough guy amateur, which he is. You didn't perform basic job duties, and I mean bare basic job duties at that. You just went on blind trust, which a fucking monkey can do, which you fucking are. A little robot. And, you're not needed. A fucking computer can do your job. When all it comes down to is following orders instead of analyzing shit based on the information you've been given. So you perform like little Nazi boy you are, and the Nazi here, superior being to superior being, which is exactly how you are. You'll find that out after you've had my daughter murdered, because I'm going to speak to my daughter about whatever in the fuck I want. So you will find that out after you've murdered more family in my life here, and after somebody else has done your fucking job. That's my response to you, the little shit turd you are. And that's the other one you'll figure out, the fucking lie that you are. Pretending to be something that you didn't even perform as. So that's my response, Patsy cunt. And you can pass it on to Jurgen boy here. Tell him he is my Jew. So that is it. But I did figure out the reference they gave, and that's that. I'm speaking to my daughter about whatever in the fuck I want, and you go on killing without any actions committed. So go fuck yourselves. That's it.
Influence and an attempt to slander my name. Perhaps I'm crazy. But the fact that they chose such a heinous crime, and they reported it so heavily, and they won't shut up and keep repeating basically a slander attack day after day after day. Also considering the fact that other people who genuinely commit heinous crimes have far more favorable press coverage. I don't want you to think I'm a conspiracy theorist. Please, Tucker, I would hate for you to come here and call me crazy. But something very strange about it, and I think
What, when Jeffrey Epstein's friends call you immoral?
yeah, the goal of it is certainly to slander my name, and I like to see it as a litmus test. I like to see it as an intelligence test. Anybody who wakes up and looks at me and goes, he's a human trafficker because of TikTok, they're fully gone.
But it's one of those charges that kind of sells itself.
Oh, absolutely, and it doesn't matter if you're found guilty or not, right? You're a human trafficker forever. But that scares me to a degree, because I think that the typical weapon, the standardized playbook, is now failing, and I don't know what the new playbook's going to be. It's almost like better the devil you know. That you're too famous, you're too successful, we don't like you. Call him a rapist or a human trafficker, put him all over the news, slander his name, try and wreck his life. What's the next move? What are they going to try next? They'd call up ex-girlfriends and say, if you have anything bad to say about Andrew, we can pay you $50,000 for the story. And they tried very hard. They didn't find any evidence of anything. They then released me on house arrest, and then 2 days before the legal limit in which they had to drop everything, they charged me with whatever they had from the beginning, which is very little. And now we have to wait for the Romanian judicial system to analyze the file and, God willing, throw it away.
But there's clearly bias.
What we know now is the FBI and the DOJ have been turned into activated political weapons against citizens